Chapter 1. A simple switch in your attitude and you'll sell like a pro. How can you be amazing at sales, which after all is the lifeblood of every business, and still be authentic and stay true to yourself? You have incredible products and services, and therefore you have a moral, ethical, and professional duty to get them into the hands of your ideal prospects as much as possible. Understand that. It's not a choice, it's your duty. So how do you do it without compromising your values or coming off as salesy? Here's the truth. It's not about persuasion. It's not about coercion. It's not about manipulation. It's actually really simple. Sales are about helping people understand the value you bring to the table. And it's about improving your clients' lives and businesses. Let me show you what I mean. Safira's story. Open quote. There's one thing you should know about Safira. She's an amazing cheerleader. She cheers people on and motivates them. She can pull you out and up, onward and upward. But one thing she can't do is sell. So don't even think about giving her an assignment to sell. End quote. This was how Safira was first introduced to me by the owner of the business we were both working at. See, a few years back, Safira and I were both working for one of the biggest online marketing brands in the US. I was in charge of business consulting, and she was the team leader for the coaches at the time. Our boss was adamant about this. Safira was not to be assigned anywhere near sales. I was intrigued. I kept thinking, well, what does a coach do that cannot sell? Luckily, over the course of a couple of months, Safira and I got to work with each other more closely. We were even assigned to do a couple of projects together. One of those projects was to upsell existing clients to more expensive programs. Sure enough, Safira was in tears on the phone with me hours after the assignment was announced. Safira told me flat out she couldn't do it. The mere idea of having to upsell to our clients was making her choke. She also told me that somehow her body rejected sales, telling me she froze whenever she thought about making a sale, and that she would tremble and do whatever it took to avoid closing. Strangely, she was doing a great job explaining to everybody what the program was about and the value the client was getting. But when it came to closing the deal, getting the commitment, and asking for payment from the client, Safira just couldn't do it. I'm sure you know the feeling. But for her, it got so bad that she cried on the phone and kept telling me that she couldn't do it. Even worse, she said she'll quit and work somewhere else. After all, the coaches were expected to be able to upsell the clients, but she couldn't. Instead of letting a good employee quit, though, our boss asked me to do a sales training because I always had a little bit of a knack for it, and I had a couple of techniques developed for myself that worked really well, especially with getting rid of that mind chatter that prevents many people from closing a deal. So I gave a sales training where I focused on the soft sell technique. After that sales training, Safira was able to close one client out of the 6 she was tasked to upsell. For her, that was a pretty big jump. But I knew she could do better. So, as I was building the victory log, I identified Safira as one of my ideal clients. I knew my sales boot camp would be great help to her as a coach. When I invited her to the boot camp, however, she said she'd think about it. Deep down, I knew she was thinking she couldn't get any better than she already had. But I didn't stop trying to help her. I kept on following up with her until she finally said yes. At the boot camp, an amazing thing happened. During one of the exercises, the participants were asked to sell something, anything, for real, and Safira closed her first immediate sale right there in the seminar room. She was ecstatic. It took only a few hours to shift her mindset from "I cannot do it" to "I totally can." And a few days after the boot camp, Safira told me she was immediately able to close her first outside sale. But more importantly, she said the thought of selling didn't choke her up anymore. And that's because the more she practiced the soft sell system, the more she saw there was another way around it. Sales wasn't about manipulating people. Instead, it was more about helping people, listening to them, and asking questions. Safira had a huge mindset shift, finally understanding that sales was about getting to know what the clients wanted and determining if you could serve their needs, and that it's about serving people and adding value to their lives. I couldn't be prouder. And guess what? When Safira attended another one of my sales events a year later, I hardly recognized her at all as the same girl who called me crying saying she wanted to quit her job because she was being asked to sell. Suddenly, Safira was so full of energy. She was literally like a different person. She said she had been applying the soft sell technique and was getting lots of great results from it. She's now the top sales performer in the organization she still works with, and nobody dares say Safira can't sell anymore. Even better, she started her own coaching business and currently is developing her signature method for empowering others. Realizing that she was absolutely able to sell was the crucial turning point for Safira. It gave her the courage and certainty to start a business, find clients and sell to them, and help a lot of people along the way. As you can see from Safira's story, you don't have to have a business without sales. Okay, you might have a hobby that you enjoy very much, but if there's no money coming in, it can't support you in the long run. So if you're a coach and you really enjoy what you're doing, learning to sell will ensure that you can turn your passion into a profitable business. And just like Safira, if you want to sell more, you need to boost your confidence and learn how to battle your fears of selling. This book aims to teach you how to become comfortable at selling. And I will share simple yet effective soft sale techniques that will get you selling like a pro in no time. Before we jump into those, in the next chapter, I want to tell you how I got into sales in the first place.